us know about articles. As I mentioned earlier, though articles are not included in parts of speech, but they form an important part of a sentence. Articles are generally considered as they refer to nouns, and for that reason I have connected it just after the nouns. What are articles? Whenever we come across this word, we have three words in our mind, and they are none other than a or n or the. So let us see what they are. To begin with articles, first I will explain you where do we place a or n. We use a or n either to refer to something for the first time. I would like to talk to you today about an exciting development. So when you are introducing something, when you are talking about something for the first time, we give an idea with the help of a or n. Or we can use it to refer to any one form of a group of several. For example, climate protection is a challenge for our entire society. Like I can say it is one of many challenges. Next, we use it to classify people or things as belonging to a group. For example, ENVISAT is a fully equipped observation satellite. Why do we mention here? Like because there are different kinds of satellite and we need to talk about only ENVISAT. Next, we use it to say what job somebody does. For example, if someone asks you, what are you? So what do we say? We say, I am a student, or I am an employee. Or suppose if someone talks to you about what is your father? So we answer like, my father is a businessman. Or I can say my brother is an architect. So to talk about someone's job, profession, occupation, we can say. We can only use a or n with singular countable nouns. Make sure you do not use it with countable plural nouns, right? We use the. Now when I talk about the, it's very specific because the is used in many of the ways like we can. For example, the first important use of the is when the listener or the reader knows which thing we mean. For example, it may have been mentioned before. Take an example, ENVISAT is a fully equipped observation satellite. Now when I am talking about ENVISAT for the first time, I am introducing it, I am using a. But when I am defining it again, what will I say? The satellite was launched in 2002, or it is understood which thing we mean. It is understood which of the conference on environmental awareness. For example, we are at the conference now, so it is clear which one I mean, right? Or if I compare, I went to a conference on environmental awareness last week. Now suppose the person I am talking to does not know which conference I am talking about. So where will I use? I will use there oh. Now when there is only one of this thing, say for example the earth, the sun, the 20th century, the 60s, the government, the prime minister. As we all know, in a country like India, we have one government and we have one prime minister. Then we can use the before superlatives. Now for discussing about superlatives, I will just tell you one thing over here. We all have studied somewhere in our lower primary classes, like we have adjectives in three different levels, I can say. For example, we have positive, comparative and superlatives. Now superlatives, in short, I will just tell you like it is the words like we use to elaborate something to the fullest. For example, the most beautiful, the tallest, the shortest and so on. So we place the before superlatives. Then it is equipped with the best eyes possible. So here you can say they have mentioned the best. What is best? It is a superlative degree. So they have placed the before it. Next we use the to talk about any musical instrument. For example, he plays the piano and she plays the guitar. So we have placed the before the musical instrument. Later we use it for certain proper nouns. For example, if I can say like the nationalities, the British, the Chinese, the Egyptians. At the same time, we place the before the names of the rivers. Like we can also say the Thames, we can also say the Ganges, the Nile At the same time, we may say or we can say the Ganga, the Narmada, the Kaveri and so on. We place the before the group of islands, like names of the island groups. We say the Maldives, we can say the Philippines, we can say the Seychelles, at the same time we say the Andaman Nicobar Islands, right? Now, when I talk about mountains, we cannot place the before name of a single mountain, but when I want to mention the name of a mountain range, I can place the over there. For example, the Alps and the Himalayas. Then talking about seas and oceans, so we place the before them also. For example, the Black Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, right? Now, many times we have a question in our mind that why we do not place the before the name of our country, like we cannot say the India, but at the same time we have heard people saying the USA, the United Kingdom. Why so? Well, because it is a kind of a rule that we place the before the name of group of countries. We can say the United Kingdom, we can say the United States of America, but we cannot say the America. At the same time, I can say the United Arab Emirates, but we cannot say the Dubai. So, in short, we can place the before the name of group of countries, right? Next, we place the before the names of many famous historical buildings, like we can say the White House, at the same time we can say the Taj Mahal, we can say the Sun Temple of Montera and so on. Talking about some noun phrases. Noun phrases, in short, I can just explain you now, it's kind of a group in which noun is the main member, I can say the main person or the main form of the group, and that when it forms a group with any other of its modifiers, it's called a noun phrase. So, we can place the before the noun phrases. For example, the Great Wall of China or the Temple of Heaven. Coming to the next topic where we can place the is before the names of universities. I can say the University of Ahmedabad, but at the same time I cannot say the Ahmedabad University. For example, I can say the University of Bath, but I cannot say Bath University, like I cannot place the before it. So, we need to be very careful while the usage of the before the names of universities, right? Next, it is not every time necessary that we place article wherever we find it appropriate. Not every place or not every sentence needs an article. So, we do not use articles like with the plural forms. We do not place articles with uncountable nouns unless we need to specify about it, right? Then we do not use, like for example, if I say it will deliver information about our changing environment. So, there is no need of writing the before information unless you need to specify that the information about which you are talking is quite important. Next is, it offers everything that scientists could wish for. Now, here we all know that scientists in general, they do not form a specific group of scientists. Next, we do not use the with certain proper nouns. For example, we cannot place the before the names of continents. I cannot say the Europe or the Asia. Similarly, I will not place the before the names of the countries, like I cannot say the Australia or the China, right? So, we cannot place the before the names of towns, before the names of cities. At the same time, we cannot place the before single mountain unless you need to specify something about it. We do not place the before the names of the lakes, before the names of the companies, before the names of the buildings and places, right? Like if unless you want to write something or say something about it in particular, please do not write the before it, right? So, we do not place the before all these kinds of the places, like I repeat, before the names of the towns, the rivers, the types about the mountains or the lakes, buildings, places, etc. At the same time, we do not place the before meal times. For example, if someone asks you, at what time do you have your lunch? So, the answer generally comes is like, I have my lunch at 1 p.m. We never say I have my lunch at the 1 p.m. right? So, we never place the before meal times, clear? We should not put the even in common expressions, particularly after prepositions. For example, to school or at school, or I can say like to university or at university. Similarly, to class or in class, or else if I need to say in prison, in hospital or in bed. So, we need to be very careful where to place the. Now, if I need to put the, we can use the only if we want to be specific. For example, compare the sentences. When I was a child, I used to walk to school. When I was a child, I went to the school on the other side of the town. You can see the difference where I wanted to specify, where I want to be specific about which school. I mentioned the before it. You can see the second example. However, we cannot use article, or I can say an article with the following expressions like at home, at work, at night, by bus, by car, by plane, on foot, etc. So that was all about the articles. We have one more topic, like it is called as demonstratives. Now the name itself gives us the idea what it must be. Like when we demonstrate something, we need this particular words, and they are 4. Now which are they? This, that, these and those. We use these words to show whether something is near or remote. We also use them in terms of time or place. Near remote thing, I would like to talk to you this morning about an exciting development. So here this, the demonstrative this, it plays a role to show something which is going to happen today. Suppose if I say my mother called me later that day. Now if I am telling like to you that this is that day is something different day, right? Okay, so I like these pictures I can mean to say like something is kept over here. So these pictures, oh, I prefer those pictures, something over there. So we can use this, that, these or those to refer back to something previously mentioned in the text. For an example, the total cost of NVSAT program is 2.3 billion euros over 15 years. Included in this sum. Which sum? This sum, which is already mentioned in the previous statement. We can refer back to the whole sentence or the ideas with this and that. Seeing the earth from outer space highlights how tiny and fragile our planet is. NVSAT helps people to understand that. To understand what? How tiny and fragile our planet is. There is often very little difference between this and that when used in this way. So, we could say NVSAT helps people to understand this. What this? The thing which we have already mentioned, right? Okay. Now coming to the next topic, which is connected to determiners or demonstratives, which is possessives. Now what are they? We use possessive determiners as I mentioned earlier, like example my, your, his, her, our, their, yours, etc. to tell us what or who something belongs to. For example, I can say our blue planet, their children, your book, his car and so on. We cannot use possessive determiners after other determiners. For example, we cannot place it after a or the. Generally, we use determiner plus noun of the possessive pronoun. For example, if I want to say something like this planet of ours, I will not say not this our plants. I cannot say that, right? So we use the apostrophe s with singular nouns and irregular plural nouns. For example, if I say we use s after the regular plural nouns, which means that Europe's technological showpiece, right? So Europe's, I am showing that apostrophe, I am showing its position. Then if I need to say the children's toys, I can say my parents' house. Whenever you have a word like this, my parents, where you have s as the last alphabet, remember, no need of placing another s, you just need to place an apostrophe, right? Then we use, or usually I can say we use noun plus of instead of placing an apostrophe when the thing we are referring to is not a person or animal. The price of the hotel, is not, though we speak like that, like the hotel's price, but it's wrong actually. We need to say the price of the hotel. Why? Because it's a non-living thing. We cannot place it as a position over there. Okay. So when you want to say something like that, say the price of the hotel, not the hotel's price. Next, under this topic, or I can say we have one more thing to understand, which is grammatically called as inclusives. Now what are they? You might have come across these words each and every. We use these words mostly while speaking as well as while writing. What do they mean? Each and every are used with a singular noun and verb. You should not say each children. Yeah, but we can say each child. We should never say every people, but we can say every person. Each is used for things or people in a group of two or more, whereas when I have a focus of individuals in a group, which I can say more than 2 or 3, I'll use every, right? For example, if I need to say each European citizen has therefore invested 7 euros in the environment, or I can also say every is used for 3 or more things, like I can say like I am focusing on the group rather than on individual. So I use every instead of each. Often the difference in focus between each and every is very small, and even if you use each or every, either the way you have to, it won't be wrong. Every citizen, if I say every citizen will have to access to precise information about the changes in the environment, it also means the same like each citizen. We can use each but not every, plus if I have of followed by a noun or a pronoun. For example, I can say each of the students gave the teacher a present. I cannot say not every of the students. So I cannot say every of the students, rather than what I will say each of the student, right? Then along with that we have all, we have most, we have some. We use all, most, some plus the plural nouns. We never say all person, we say all people, most children. We cannot say most child. So they are always followed by a plural noun and a verb to talk about things in general. Let us see some examples like most children like sweets. Some people believe in space exploration, or some people think that the space exploration program is a wastage of money. Next, we use all, most, some plus of plus a pronoun or a determiner, or I can say we can add a noun to refer to a specific group. Let us see one example. Most of the children at my school play football. Yeah, so that gives you the perfect definition of what I mentioned. Next, we do not need to use all, of before a noun, but we need to use it before a pronoun. For example, all the children as my school play a musical instrument. We cannot say as, it's of my school play a musical instrument. Now, all of them like music. Okay, we cannot say all them. We need that of in between, otherwise it will sound incomplete. Okay. Now, when all is followed by a singular noun referring to time, the meaning is different. Let us see how. Compare these two sentences. If I say, I worked hard all day, what does it mean? It means that I worked hard for one whole day, right? Now, if I say I worked hard every day, what does it mean? I regularly worked hard. So, when you say I worked hard all day, it means that you want to specify on that one single day. But if you say I regularly worked hard, it's for every day, right? Okay. So, this was all about the usage of the articles. Then we saw the demonstratives, we saw the possessives, we saw the inclusives. With that, we come to the end of the topics which are connected to the nouns basically. So, right, so now that was the end of the nouns and the topics connected to it, and now we will start with the next topic, which is pronouns.